Now it's time for our weekly Asia View segment. We're heading today to China to speak with our correspondent, Yenna Lee, who joins us from there. Yenna, almost sounds funny, this first bit at the start, but there's pretty sinister behind it. People there dressed up in Halloween costumes this weekend, but they were then taken away to police stations in Shanghai. Tell us exactly what happened.
Well, police in downtown Shanghai rounded up people wearing costumes and Halloween makeup, took them down to the police station and told them to remove their get-ups. A friend of mine was even given a black T-shirt to change into. In the name of which law or decree? I haven't actually been able to find that out. There's been no official public statement about a ban. Perhaps this falls under the very wide umbrella of public security or public order. It appears that local police are worried about a repeat of last year's festivities. Some of the costumes then poked fun at authorities with, for example, people dressed in full hazmat gear or a massive COVID-19 swab. Clearly, these are jabs at policy decisions that took place. You'll remember that Shanghai was under a full lockdown during the pandemic. Some people even went further and dressed as security cameras or even Winnie the Pooh, really veering into political satire. It certainly appears that authorities want to avoid this, and they've been rounding up anyone who has a big costume, even the most innocuous, apolitical ones as well. And they also set up barricades in some parts of the city centre where partygoers had planned to gather. It is really rather quite interesting that they'd go this far. You know, Chinese youth often like dressing up. We live in a country where it's really easy to get creative with costumes. It really doesn't cost much to order what you want online and like do the whole get up every year. In short, you could say that this is in part a crackdown against foreign festivals. Halloween is considered to be a Western festival. It's also a crackdown in part against displays, public displays of political views. But for many young people here, they might feel like this is just a crackdown against fun.
Meanwhile, Yenna, China's equivalent to Black Friday is taking place on November the 11th. Sales have just started, but one e-commerce giant already landing itself in hot water. Why is this?
Well, Jingdong or JD.com is a huge player in the e-commerce industry, and this time of year is extremely important because Double 11 or a Singles Day sales have already started. Think of it as Black Friday on steroids, if you will. JD used comedian Yang Li as one of their brand ambassadors this year, which led to a social media backlash. Now, the stand-up comedian is known for her jokes about average, underwhelming men, and she's seen as a feminist, and some male customers who take offense at her comedic content started a boycott of JD at this critical time, which led to the company to drop her ad campaigns. What you have to know is that it's not the first time this sort of thing happens to Yang Li. Her participation in ads for Mercedes-Benz and Intel were also criticized, so she's been losing quite a few deals because of her jokes. That said, there are also consumers who are critical of companies who have been bowing down to this type of pressure. So now you have these JD users who say they cancelled their accounts because they used Yang Li, and then there are others who are cancelling their accounts because JD fired the comedian. It's a little too early to say if the reputational damage has had any significant impact on sales, but no doubt crisis management teams have been trying to find the right balance to get out of this controversy.